Hello? Can people hear me? Am I audible? Audio check. Sounds good. Hey, nice. Is there music? Can people hear it? It should be kind of quiet. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm quiet. Okay. Yeah, let me know if my audio is good because I did change it recently. Maybe I'll up the volume a little. I just don't want it to peak or get a bit scratchy. Yeah, I am audible. I am audible. That's good. Nice. Perfecto. Oh, A. Awesome. That's good. Cool. We'll start shortly as always. I don't know. This is just a chill and chat for a bit of the beginning. Let's say I don't know why my chill looks like a W, but man, I had to do like presentations on a board lately, and I realized I cannot write on a board properly. It looks terrible. I think if I were to ever teach in a class, I feel bad for my students because they would not be able to read my writing. Starting early? Are we starting early? Oh no, I mean, we officially start at 4, and I'm like, okay, on my time it's 3:57 on my computer, so I'm kind of thinking, we'll just chill, wait for people to file in, because usually we wait like about 10 minutes anyways, so. Struggle with joints. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this one's gonna be actually a 2-parter, and it's gonna be a little bit trickier. I decided, I don't know why, I could have picked an easier sequence to try to work out, but I decided, hey, let's go with action-oriented poses. So I'm also gonna, you'll see me kind of just not exactly wing it, but it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting stream. Yeah. We'll start in, let's say, 4 minutes. Starting in 4 minutes. We love a good challenge. Exactly, yes. What would be a good starter animations for character? Simple walk. A walk cycle is a good one. I know it sounds like, what? A walk cycle? Wouldn't maybe like just waving or turning the head, but walk cycle I think is like a pretty good intro. And speaking of, walk cycles, we did do a walk cycle stream, so if you want to see me do a walk cycle, the recording is up for that one. You can check out me animating a cat or a cat-like creature. Oh, you know what? Head turn's not too bad either. Head turn might be tricky if you don't have the full character rotation figured out, but that one's also not a bad one to start with, too. Good average height for your art. 5 heads tall. That's like a, what is it? I have a Donald Duck cup. Let's see, Donald Duck is 4 heads tall, so your character is a little bit taller than Donald Duck, I guess. Animating expressions. Maybe, I mean, we could do that maybe in the future. Today is gonna be more of like an action sequence. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing. Walk cycles can be a bit hard, but I think as long as you get the main walking poses down, it's not too bad. Didn't we already do an animated cat character? Yeah, we did. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, like, if anybody wants to watch that, it is there. That's not what we're gonna be doing today, though. But yeah, I don't know. I got let's say 2 more minutes. I don't know. I'll just draw something, I guess, while we wait a little bit. And for everybody who's early here, you know, I'm still trying to get used to chat in terms of keeping an eye on it. So if I miss anything you say, sometimes I rewatch the streams and I realize that I miss a lot of things people say. So if I miss something, don't you know, forgive me. I end up getting like focused on the drawing and then I miss the messages. Is a quadrupedal character harder to do a walk cycle? I personally think so, but I mostly like drawing human type characters, so maybe that I might have a bit of a bias. I don't know, if someone who draws more animals might find that it's actually easier to draw animals or animate animals. But yeah, but I think it's harder just because you got more legs to worry about, whereas if you do just a human character, you just have to worry about 2 legs. But I don't know, that's just me. Maybe that's not maybe you're like, nah, 4 legs 4 legs to manage is easier. Joints properties. Oh, I'm actually 5'6" in real life, but my style is really cartoony. Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, really cartoony styles are good. I feel like I never know what to tell people, like when they go like, oh, what's your art style? I'm like, it's not quite anime, but it's not quite like comic booky or realistic either, so I just say exaggerated realism. Is that kind of like an oxymoron kind of a word? I feel like it maybe is, because it's like, what's a exaggerated realism? If it's exaggerated, then it's not realistic, right? But I don't know. The joint pro. That's a cool. I like to say mine is Western cartoon with slight anime influence. Hey, actually, that's a good way. It's a little bit wordy, but I completely resonate with that. I think that's a good way to put it. If it was an acronym, it would be, let's see, Wasai. You have a Wasai style. Western cartoon with slight anime influence. I just realized it's been 10 minutes. You know, let me just quickly draw this character. I don't know what I'm drawing. We'll just give it a little bit of shoulder. I like to draw my characters starting off a bit bald. I don't know. Maybe they're turned over a little bit. Not too sure. You know, I tried trying to design like a female character with those like the I don't even know what this is, where the sides are shaved, and then they have like a little bit of that. It's not a mohawk. Is it a mohawk? Faux hawk? I don't know. Combed over to the side. Yeah, I don't know. Here's a little character that we drew while we're waiting. That's a cool art style. Oh, if you're talking about my art style, yeah, thank you. If we're talking about the Waksai style, yeah, I like a mix. Tex Avery style exaggeration. Oh, that sounds so familiar. Oh, Tex Avery. I feel like if you mention what they did, I'd probably be like, oh, how did I forget? Like V from Arcane. Oh, does she have a shaved side? I don't even remember. I guess she does. Oh yeah, she does. Yeah. Yeah, kind of like V. Yeah, or Vi? Vi? Yeah. But her hair swoops in the front, so I was trying to go with the one where it goes up. But what's a chill chat? It means we're chilling and we're chatting. It is literally what it says. But I guess we can start now. Let me see. I will say we're starting, and I'm gonna say this is intro. For anyone joining us now. Oh hey, Sue's here. Hey, I barely know how to use Krita. Really? Oh, don't worry, we have some intro tutorial videos. So, I feel like Krita is like super. I'm losing the word. It has a lot of uses. I can't think of the word right now for some reason, but you can animate on it, you can do painting, there's a lot of tools and adjustments that you can have for it, so I think it's really awesome of a program, and it's free. Versatile, yes, thank you, versatile, that is the word I am thinking of. In undercut, oh, is that the style? Is that what it's called? The shaved side head? Exaggerated cartoon with anime? Yeah, I honestly, you know what? Style is just whatever. It's just a way to categorize it. Oh, Spider-Gwen. Yeah. She did have that in the movie. She had to shave her side head, and then I guess now her head is forever shaved. Soothing art style. Using Krita paint. Yeah, I actually really like painting on Krita. I like it, but you know what? Everybody has different preferences for brushes. As long as it feels good to how you use it and what you want it to do, then you know it's whatever. What is the brush called that you sketched with? Yeah, it's let me see. Okay, I like these two different brushes. It's called Quick Shade, but then you'll see that I named it Thin, and that's because this is the original Quick Shade, and I think it's under pencils. Or let me see, where is it? Yeah, the sketch, actually. It's under sketch. And then basically I took this one, and in Krita, if you want to, there is a brush setting on top. And I basically just I didn't touch anything, and all I did was go to opacity, and I adjusted it so that it was like 75%, I think. So let me see, what did I change? Yeah, you can see I changed the curve. So basically it means that when I draw, right when I press it, it has a little bit of transparency is lower, up to like 70%, and then the harder I push, the more opaque it gets. So that's what I changed, because I think by default it was a bit too opaque, too transparent, and I didn't really like that. And then the next thing I changed was size. So by default this brush is really big, and I was like, I don't really like that, so I changed it so that the curve is just a slight ramp up, just so that I can have it really thin and then slowly get thicker the harder I press it. So that's one of the brushes I like, and it's really good for painting too. I don't know, I like it for painting. And then the next one I use is called, let's see, what is this called? It's called Charcoal Pencil Medium. So I did the same thing. I basically just took the default, went to brush settings, and just adjusted the size and the opacity. And you just press Save New Brush Preset. Not overwrite, because if you overwrite it, you lose the original one, I think. I actually don't know how you can bring it back, but I'm pretty sure there might be a way. But once you like the settings, you adjust to it, you just click Save New Brush Preset. And there's a bunch of other settings too, like you can change the texture. Let me see, where is it? There's like blending modes that you can adjust for it. You can change the brush tip. You can change the texture. Texture. So you can see texture, there's like different patterns and how intense those patterns are, and I just leave them as default. You know, I just test them out, and if I like the texture, I stick with it, and I just change some simple basic things. I don't really play too much around with it, but do I like Bob Ross? I know of Bob Ross. I've seen some of his videos, or seen clips. I've never watched a full Bob Ross piece before, actually. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna start. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, Krita does take a while to get used to if you're used to the other programs, but it's pretty straightforward, I feel. But I know that some people have tried it and they're like, eh. But yeah, okay, so we're gonna get started, and today, oh, actually, we'll do our kind of mandatory intros for now, and then we'll get started. So, for those who don't know, my name is Josh, as you can see on my icon in the bottom. We are a school called Wing Canvas, as you can also see in our YouTube channel. We not only do streams and tutorial videos and shorts, we are also an online school where we teach completely virtually. So if you ever want to learn how to do animation or drawing or digital painting or anime, we offer a variety of classes. So if you enjoy what we kind of offer on YouTube, maybe feel free to check out our school, because we offer similar type of lessons and advices, but with more in-depth approach. And you also get to ask our teachers things about the industry, also more in-depth advice, as well as feedback on your work. So I highly recommend you check out our classes as well. And if you want to help support us as we make free arts education, feel free to support us on Patreon. You know, every kind of support helps, as we help make everything that we do here possible, and we really appreciate any support that you're able to offer us. And if you do become part of Patreon, we do offer a lot of perks, such as Discord exclusives. You get some of the art files that we actually make for our videos and on the stream. You get some behind the scenes look and some of our videos and the kind of editing process, I guess you could say, as well as some free classes that we record for our virtual classes, as well as some emotes for Discord. So yeah, if those things, sound like a nice little bonus in not only supporting us, feel free to check us out on Patreon. And if you like our video, definitely give us a like and a subscribe. And we are also on social media, so if you want to check us out on Discord, Instagram, and Facebook, we are also there. And if any of the work that you do here alongside me during our stream or any of our other streams along with our other instructors, feel free to post your work and tag us so that we can see it and maybe give you a shout out, and maybe one of us can see them as well. So yeah, that was our little intro. So what are we doing today? What music is this? It's lo-fi music. It's the same playlist, so if you go to our walk cycle video, I listed all like the credits for the music, so I'll list them here as well afterwards, but it's the same playlist essentially. But yeah, we're going to just jump right into it. And today, as you can see by the title of this video, I am, and you can follow along as well if you want to, is that I'm going to animate a character, and we're going to do an action sequence, and this is going to be actually a two-parter, I think. So, for today, I'm going to be animating a character performing a kind of action sequence, and then next time, on part 2, it might be cleanup, maybe some in-between and smoothing, as well as background and color. So it'll depend on how much time we have, but I'll try to do as much as possible. But the goal of today is to kind of walk through my process when I animate a character in the design process, research process, and then kind of just the planning stage. So you get to see the full breakdown of how I approach animation. So yeah, it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be interesting. Now, I actually went out of my way already to plan out the sequence already, so it's not gonna be right from the beginning, but you'll kind of see what my thought process is, as well as kind of the things that I had to do and the research that I did in order to get to where it is now. So I'm gonna I'm not gonna do the same thing that I did to you guys last stream where I was like, oh yeah, where's this cat from? And then not tell you where the cat is from. This time, I'll just be like, hey, you know, this movie is really good. I wonder if anybody knows where this movie is, but I'm not gonna keep it a secret, don't worry. So, I don't know if anybody watches movies, but this is a pretty famous, popular movie, and it's pretty iconic. It has like a pretty iconic fight sequences, very awesome fight choreographies, and essentially, I was like, okay, a fight, sword fight, I need a reference for that. So I wanted inspiration, and I was like, okay, where can I find some like references? And actually, you know what, Karate Kid, I see some people saying Karate Kid and Kung Fu Panda. You know what, you should I wish you were there when I was thinking about where to grab references from, because those would have been good ones. Kung Fu Panda and Karate Kid would have been good, but no, this is from let me see, let me just make a file. This is okay, I'm just gonna label it. This is step 1. This was finding references, and inspiration, let's say. Inspiration, I'm running out of space. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So this is the phase where I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a fight sequence. It has swords. What are some iconic sword fight sequences? And I was thinking maybe I should do Star Wars or some other famous TV shows that had like really epic fight sequences, but they weren't flashy enough. And so I was like, you know what? Let's just see what YouTube, the algorithm, has to say. And it popped up this movie, which is, who mentioned it? I can't say your name. Conager Holly. I probably butchered that, but yes, you are correct. It is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, missing F, guys. What? You forgot an F? Did I what? Where? Oh my goodness. Don't call me out on my spelling mistakes. Don't judge me. Don't look at me. Okay, we're gonna fix this. I can spell. Oh my god. Okay, I don't have enough space. This is like those times when you write birthday cards, or your mom is like, hey, you know, you gotta write a thank you letter, and you run out of space and you can't plan out how much okay, now I'm kind of okay. Oh my goodness, did I spell references wrong? Okay, I did. Okay, references. Yes. Oh my goodness. Hide the evidence. Yes, exactly. So, the movie is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and it has like a really epic fight sequence. And I don't know if I'm actually allowed to show the video. I feel like I'm not allowed to, but I'll like just show a bit of a clip from where I found the screenshots from, because I just basically found the sequence and I just watched it and I was like, oh, this is a good fight sequence, so I just screenshot it. So this is the video that I was watching. And what I was looking for is whether it was clear enough that I could see full body movements, but also get a good tracking of like, you know, are the movements clear? Is it epic? Are there some like interesting swings to them and whatnot? So yeah, there's some like pretty interesting moves and some very interesting kind of choreography. Then I was like, yeah, you know what? Michelle Yeoh is pretty popular right now after the Oscars, and I feel like this is an appropriate time to kind of use this fight sequence as a reference. So this is the sequence that I basically grabbed and I'm using as my reference point. So I took this pose. I was like, hey, this is a pretty dope starting pose. This kind of fits what I have in mind of a good sword fight starting. And then afterwards, I just played it and just kind of followed along with, okay, I'm rewinding right now, but I'm just following along and seeing what kind of poses there are and whether it looks good. So I'm just going frame by frame. And what I ended up doing is after I watched this video, I was like, okay, what are the main poses in this fight? So I felt like this is a good one. So we went from the character holding up the sword to the initiating kind of pose where she doesn't have the sword stick out immediately. She needs to kind of wind up. So this is the anticipation stage of the action pose. So I was like, okay, this is a good one. So I screenshotted this. And then we got a big action swing over here. So I think this is the one that I captured or somewhere close to it. And then another one. So there's a transitional kind of pose. And then she takes a huge step forward and just keep moving. And I think I grabbed like this one. It was a mix and match because obviously I don't have the time to animate the entire sequence, nor it would be too complicated. So I just kind of took pieces here and there from what I thought looked really kind of dynamic and allowed for a good pose. And I was like, okay, yeah, I think this is like a good... So we ended off here, I think, is my last pose where I was like, yeah, this is good. So this is where I was at in terms of like the planning and research. This is what I wanted. And before I started kind of animating though, I wanted some reference images. So I wanted to see what Michelle Yeoh's character's outfit looks like. And I wanted to see kind of like different poses that she would have when she's not fighting. And so I felt like this was like pretty good, gives me a good rough idea as to what her outfit looks like and how it's wrapping around the body and everything like that. So I was like, okay, this one's a good one. I think this should be good enough. And I did a really quick character rough. So I was like, okay, here is a very simplified cartoony character design so that I can like hopefully quickly get a animation sequence going. And then afterwards, this was the rough, and then I cleaned it up a little bit so that I can clearly see where the hands are, where the arms are, what the outfit looks like and very cleanly. Now, this might not be the exact style I'll be going in with when I animate it, but I just want an idea as to roughly what I'm doing in this sequence. So this is where I was at. Oh, and also I added the sword, so I have again just an idea as to how big the sword is compared to the entire human body. And literally all I did was just I went into this picture and just like, okay, use my fingers. How big is this sword? And then I like measured it against Michelle Yeoh's body and was like, okay, it's about like half her body. So I think this is a good size. So yeah, the sword, I kind of based it on the reference images. And after that, I took screenshots of the fight scene. So after I watched the video, I just went in and screenshotted a bunch of those main poses, those main shots. So because I'm using an actual established reference, meaning I'm not making this up off the top of my head, nor am I filming my own reference, I can't really call this animation my own. I would be like fight based on the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon film. So I would have to give credit to it. But let's say I was doing this off the top of my head, what I would do is maybe film my own reference, kind of research different sword fight moves, different sword fight tactics, and then maybe do it myself and storyboard it out and plan it. But essentially, this is kind of like a storyboarding process. And what I'm doing is let me see. I am looking at these reference images. Maybe I'll make it a little bit not too opaque, so you can still see it. And what I'm looking for are the main action poses that the characters have. So in the starting pose, I can see that it's very stoic. She has like a very strong kind of stance, and then it counters with her hand, and then the sword kind of comes out with no reference. I mean, that works too. Some people just do it off the top of their head, and that is, as long as it turns okay, it's like, yeah, that's fine. I like to animate, trying to get better. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at this Michelle Yeoh, and I'm looking for the kind of line of action for in each of these references. So as she takes a step forward, all her weight is in the front, but then she is kind of leaning forward a little bit with her foot trailing back. And then the next step, she is launching forward more, kind of thing. So I'm looking at the line of action, and I'll notice that there's a lot of these dynamic curves that she's making. And then in this one, I would say that's the motion at the top. You don't use references? Yeah, I mean, I would highly recommend using references, but I get that some people just don't really care about references, but I would recommend references. Especially for things that you don't know. But like, I'm not a sword fighter, so I'm like, even if I were to fake it, it might not look great. So that's why I'm using references. So I'm looking at her line of action, but I'm also looking at her sense of weight. So this is why, you know, like we recommend doing life drawing, and we recommend doing like really quick gesture work, because it allows you to really quickly analyze a sense of weight and balance in your characters. So when I was studying this, I was essentially just looking for the line of action and the main sense of weight in this pose. And getting deja vu right now? Deja vu in what sense? I hope it's a good deja vu. But this is the kind of neat thing, is that the last stream that we did a walk cycle, right? And if you look at her sequence, she's essentially walking. So we got her back foot, and then now her back foot is in the front. And then her back foot now takes the step. This is the contact pose. So we got a contact pose. And then this is the up pose, where now her leg has moved to the back and it's pushing upwards. And then now it's back to a down or contact pose kind of thing. So she's constantly taking these steps, and I was keeping an eye on this, and I was like, okay. So it's essentially a walk pose. So two things that I had to keep an eye on, which is line of action, and then two, placement of the feet. We'll just call it that. Placement of the feet. Hope I didn't spell anything wrong this time. Don't mind my T's. My T's look bad. But placement of feet. And the placement of feet is really important, because it makes your character, especially if they're taking a step forward and if they're walking, it makes it look like their character's actually moving forward. And if and it'll also make it look like your character's not sliding. And footwork, yeah, footwork is kind of important. It can make your fights and movements feel really dynamic. So these were the two things that I was like really keeping an eye on. And the next thing after that is I then put the reference images, like those screenshots, on my second monitor. And I did this last night. And I essentially did a rough blocking of the sequence, so you can see what it looks like. I'm gonna play it out, and hopefully it's smooth and you can see what I'm doing. And let me see. Okay. We'll keep this on. I'll flip through them first, and then afterwards I'll play it. I'm gonna just shrink the sequence. Let me oh my goodness, there's so much on chat. Sorry, I'll try to catch up, Leslie. Oh yeah, if you want to take my animation class, yeah, we're offering both level 1 and level 2 now. So if you're very beginner, level 1's good for that. But if you already know a little bit, level 2 is good. Good deja vu. A cat animation brings back Hoog memories. I know you meant to say good. The Hoog is funny though. Animation is sometimes fun, but sometimes painful. Yeah. It's definitely one where if you put in the work, you can go down a rabbit hole and you just get invested in it. The line of action, yes. Place. Did I say place meet? Yeah. How do you tell where the line of action starts and ends? That is a good question. Actually, maybe I'll answer that before we get into the showing you the different drawings. So line of action, there's no real right or wrong necessarily. For example, some people might look at this character and think that the line of action starts at the head and then goes this way. But it could also maybe go this way. Or maybe it doesn't start at the head at all and it goes this way. So line of action really is more of like the sense of weight that you want to capture and convey and what you think best communicates the character's sense of motion. It might also be like this, you know. So line of action is what you think best communicates the trajectory that you want your character to be moving in. If they're static, maybe it's just straight. You know, for this one, she's technically also pretty balanced and standing up pretty straight. But maybe you want to draw it like this. You can follow the sword motion and it's swinging this way. Maybe this communicates a better sense of motion and dynamics and trajectory for the character. So it's a little bit different. Sometimes it's good to start with the head, kind of like this one. Start with the head and go like that. Or you can follow her sword and have it be like this. So there's no real right or wrong answer necessarily, but it's more of like finding the most effective answer. And everybody is going to have a little bit of an interpretation depending on the intention of that drawing. Yeah. Tees look bad. Mine look horrible. Everybody has unique writing qualities, so I'm sure everybody's writing is amazing. Their penmanship, you know. Currently, I would recommend it for digital. We haven't had any students do traditional animation, but I mean, I'm not against it. But it might be a bit tricky traditionally because you need kind of like a proper setup for traditional. I teach it digitally just because it's way easier. But yeah, starts at the neck and goes between the legs. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it too. Yeah. Choose which one. Yeah, no, Jessie's class is great too. So, you know, if you like the lessons that she's teaching, yeah, feel free to just stick with hers. But if you want to try out mine, that's fine too. Most animations are digital. Yeah, most of them are digital. How do the deltoids work? Their shoulders. Maybe we can get into that deltoids when I walk through the blocking that I've done. But my voice is doubled. Oh, really? Oh. Is that it with everyone? Is my voice doubled for everyone? I don't know if, let me check my settings. You might see some, adjustments. No? Oh. Maybe, fine. Oh, okay. Okay, well, if it's fine for most people, then I'm not gonna adjust it. You might have to just tweak some things, maybe. Yeah, refresh. It's always the go-to answer. Just refresh. Okay, so I'm gonna show you my rough block, and you can kind of see what it kind of turned out looking like. Now, this is a rough block, meaning that it's not meant to look really refined or anything, but just a way for me to see whether the action and the motion is flowing properly and get a good sense of consistency. So that was the point of it. And let's see. So this is her initial step, and you can tell that like this is based off of that original pose. So it's based off of this one where she's just holding her sword, but because I changed up the angles a little bit and basically the camera position's different, I can't exactly follow this completely. So I took the idea of this pose and then I made it my own. So I wanted, because in the second pose, right after I move the image, I bring it back. So you can see in the next pose that I've screenshotted, she has her left foot is in the front. So, I forgot to put it on the Discord, but oh well. Forgot to let people know that we're live on Discord. I'm sure it's fine. But what I noticed is that her left foot is in front. So because in this first image, I can't see where her leg is, but I love this pose. I'm like, okay, in order for her leg to be like this, her left foot probably has to be in front. So that's what I did, is I just had the exact same pose where she's holding the sword out and she has her left foot in front. That's what I did. And then the next pose is that initiating pose, right? Where she's taking a step forward, she's starting to move down, and maybe I'll turn on onion skin so you can see what it looked like previously. So you can look at the trail, and you can see that it's kind of moving down, and her body is shifting down. So there's now this kind of curve motion, and she's starting to start the swing. And then after that, she takes a step forward. And so this is where feet placement gets really important, because now if her foot is planted and she's taking kind of like a leaping skip of a step forward, her foot needs to stay in the same place. So I can't move it or else it'll look like her foot is sliding. And that's kind of the case for this first pose as well. When she takes the step forward, the front foot needs to stay in place. And then the back foot, it's just about to lead off. So it's the tip of the foot is just hovering over the ground to give a little sense of weight and momentum. And then on the next one, I want it to be a big change in direction. And so that's why now she's taking a big step and her body is slightly floating in the air, but she's now swung the sword forward. And then in the next one, she's kind of whipped the sword around. So the sword is going like this, around this way. And because it's a really quick and fast motion, it's like the next big pose. So I don't want to draw any transitions. I don't want to draw any like real in-betweens when I'm blocking this sequence out, or it's going to be a bit too much. And so it's a quick change of direction. And because it's such a big, quick change, you'll read it, when I play this out, you'll read it as like a really fast kind of swing. And so then we go to the next pose. And this is another big step. And again, foot, I'm keeping an eye on the feet, making sure that it's staying in place. And I'll bring the image up so you can kind of see a side-by-side comparison. We went from this one down here to this one up here, where she's taking this big step forward. And you can see that I've exaggerated it a little bit, but not too much. And what I wanted to exaggerate was like her really like leaping forward to kind of block the sword hit. So she's really taking a big step forward, and so I wanted to stretch the foot, and I want to maybe have the body lean forward a little bit more. And so this is where line of action comes in handy. You can kind of see a little bit in here. Like I drew a little bit of a line of action there to really capture the arc in the back. And then afterwards, it's kind of like a leap. And she plants both her feet down, kind of scrunches up. It's kind of like a building up momentum. She sticks out her sword in the previous one, and then she lands on her feet and it holds in all that momentum. And then to the next one, she doesn't quite release it, but it's another sword block, and then sets up for another one. So this is where I've ended it off. And so today, because I've already blocked it out, today is pretty much just going to be me cleaning up this sequence. Now that I have the rough blocking down, I'm just going to be kind of animating and following this kind of sequence. Now, I have like a good reference to base it on, and I have like pretty rough blocking already. So if you want to follow along and do a fight sequence too, I would recommend maybe trying out the same process that I did, which is find some references. It doesn't have to be as complicated as this. You can find very simple, maybe just one sword swing going from the top to the bottom. But what I noticed is that the more dynamic the poses are, the easier it is kind of to animate or to give the illusion of like a nice flow. And actually, that tip is something I got from actually watching. I don't know if anybody's watched Hades or played the Hades game before, but this is something that I noticed when I was actually studying and analyzing the Hades trailer, which is that when you play it, I'm not going to play it just because, again, I don't know if we're allowed to, but the trailer feels really smooth. Like when you watch it, you're like, wow, the motion feels so like it's, I don't know, just so smooth. Like the action just like flows really well and everything. But if you pause it and actually flip through it frame by frame, they didn't actually draw that much. So I'm going to flip it and I'm going to count. Hopefully you can maybe hear it on the, you probably wouldn't hear it on the mic, but I'll count how many times it takes before the action changes. So this is one pose, and so 1, 2, 3, 4. That means this person has animated, I think that's on 5s. Each frame of animation is animated on 5. So what they did is 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I guess animated on 4s. Yeah. So, but it's not always consistent. But what you'll notice is that the bigger the change, the easier it is to convey a sense of smoothness, even if it's animated on 4s or 5s. Oh, you can hear it? Oh, I mean, I don't have the video playing, but yeah. So here's the other thing is like, let me see. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But oh, you can hear the clicking? Oh, nice. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see this change of action is really like, it's not that close to each other, but it's big enough that when you see it in motion, and even if it's like 3 frames in between, it makes it still feel very smooth because the background, the camera's moving, and there's that, I forgot what this thing is called. The Hydra is also moving, so it gives a sense of like really dynamic movements and everything. So let me see. Let's start again. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is probably where it feels the smoothest, where because the motion is closer to one another, you can actually get a better tracking when it's being played. You get a better sense of how the character is moving from one position to the next one. And because he's not changing position too much, this section is going to feel a lot smoother than this next one, I think, where he has a big sword swing. Oh, no, it's not a big sword swing. He ducks underneath it, I think. Yeah. So this one's like the coolest because it looks really smooth when you play it out, but he actually like does these huge movements, but they all feel really smooth kind of thing. So this one I think is animated on 3s or 2s, I think. So that's why it feels a little bit smoother. But you can see like the movements are very big and dynamic. And so big and dynamic movements can help give your animation, make it feel a little bit smoother than it really is. So that's why I was like, oh, let's just do a big action sequence. Yeah, that's a whole nother way to look at it. Yeah. I mean, that's how I like to study animation, and I'm pretty sure that some people also have looked at Spider-Verse animations just to get a feel for like the timing that they did for Miles. And yeah, glad you could join us, Gear Anderson. Hey, nice that you can make it. But yeah, so I'll play it right now. So hopefully it's smooth and you can see what it looks like. It's really fast though. And as again, it's a really short sequence, so because there's no in-between and there's no like smoothening to it, the poses are gonna be jumping from one to another, but you get an idea as to or at least hopefully you get an idea as to how it's all flowing and moving from one another. But yeah, I'll just leave this running in case people are just catching in or watching this. How long did it take for you to do this? I didn't time it. I don't know, maybe like half an hour. But this is just a block-in. So usually block-ins, I try not to take too long, and I just want to capture the overall momentum and motion, and just make sure that some things look like they're, flowing with one another. So again, that's why it was the sword swing direction as well as the footsteps, just making sure that they kind of look like they somewhat flow with one another. But again, this is only, what is it? I only did 8 drawings. 8 drawings in the span of a little over 1 second. So it's not a long sequence and it's not a lot of drawings, but it gives me an idea as to roughly what's going on and what I have to work with. So I would call these, let me see, I would say if my mouse will click it, hopefully it doesn't crash on me. But this is like my starting pose, and this is what I would say is my key pose, and then this is my anticipation pose. This is an extreme. Maybe this could be another key pose because it's quite a big change, and it's kind of what I was aiming for, to have it lead up to this one. And then I would say maybe this one's not really a key pose, but let's just say that it is because it's the last one. Or maybe we could say yeah, these ones kind of like extremes, not really key poses, but I would say these two are my main kind of key poses. So I wanted my character starting here to move in. Your thoughts on anatomy and animation? Oh, super important. It is super important to have at least a somewhat basic understanding of anatomy when doing animation. Quick overview. Oh, okay, sure. So key poses. Maybe I can draw it out. So a key pose might be, let's say, I like to use my hand. Let's say someone is pointing. Let's say they have this is a fist and this is their pointing finger. This is a bad hand, but let's say I want the hand to be moving down like this from here to here. So this starting point would be a key pose. And now key poses in extremes can kind of be interchangeable, but one is not the other. So an extreme can be a key pose, but a key pose doesn't always have to be an extreme. If that makes any sense. But the way that I think about it is that key poses, I might have said that wrong. But key poses are basically the ones that have the biggest change, and they're the main important ones that you want to show off to really show the change in direction for something, or maybe it's important for the story. So yeah, so let's say these are my two key poses at the top over here. And maybe for this one, there's no real extreme. This is an example of one where both these poses could be extremes and there's no extreme in the middle. But let's say if I wanted to put an extreme, maybe I could have the hand really bent this way, like the fingers almost looks like it's broken and the hand is like coming off here kind of thing. So the hand is really bent back and is really delayed. That one, maybe you could say that it's an extreme or a transitioning type of frame where it allows for your eye to follow the transition of the movement. But yeah, the cat walking one is a good one. Maybe I'll open that one up. Let me see. Where is it? Do I have it? I do not have it on hand. Let me see. Where is my cat? My cat. Okay. So a contact is a key pose. I'll put it red. And the switch is another key pose. And then these ones in between, you can maybe, some people might call these extremes. But I feel like they're very subtle to kind of call them extremes. Some people like to say that extremes have to be extreme. Other people are like, oh, you know, it might be kind of a transitional side of it. So they're kind of like in-betweens, but they play a big role. So that's why I'm like, these ones here, these are extremes for sure. Maybe this one's not, well, actually no, she's coming down, she's landing. So this one might be an extreme. This one is an extreme, and then the stuff in between would be in-betweens. But these ones are maybe all extremes. But key poses are the ones that show like the biggest change, and they're the most important ones to progress the movement or the sequence. And usually when I'm animating, I'll start off with the key poses so I know where I'm going, and then I'll figure out the extremes in between, and then I'll do the actual in-betweens to smooth in the sequence out. Yeah. What would you tell a high school junior future character? A high school junior future character animator. Is this person in high school, or they're going to high school and they want to be an animator? I mean, regardless of where, I would say like anatomy and perspective. There's always a good one to kind of make sure you have done. You're in high school. Okay. Yeah, I would say like anatomy is a good one, and proportions. Anatomy and perspective, because perspective will allow you to change form. So if this is the body and it's tilting this way, you know, and then I want it to rotate over. Having good perspective can help me, hopefully, to really help transition the turn over. You know, so anatomy and volume and perspective, because it'll help you practice your sense of spatial awareness. It is hard, but once you get it down, everything just becomes a lot easier. It's kind of like once you get over the obstacle of perspective, everything kind of flows in a bit better. And then anatomy. So you don't have to know every single muscle, but try to know like surface muscles at least, and get a good sense of proportions. So like how, you know, if you took the size of your head and moved it down to your chin, where does like, okay, maybe that's a bad way of describing it, but let's say your head is here and you took this size and you moved it down, where would this line up with? And typically this lines up with your nipples, so the middle of your chest. So something like that. Usually, yeah, so your pecs. It usually lines up with your pecs. And then if you move one head down again, it will usually line up with your belly button or your navel. And then if you move it down again, it will usually line up with the bottom of your groin or the crotch area. And then if you do it again, it usually lines up with halfway, or not halfway, but just a little bit above the knees. So getting a good idea of that will always help you as you're animating, because animating is turning things three-dimensionally and being able to draw it at any angle and with any kind of motion. So I would highly recommend just like familiarizing yourself with proportions and basic surface anatomy, as well as familiarizing, such a weird word, but with getting used to free drawing perspective. So that's something that I always kind of recommend my advanced drawing students to somewhat have down, is to be able to freehand a prism. And it doesn't have to be a perfect cube. It can just be a floating prism that just needs to look like it's in proper perspective, and that's it. So I'm not using any vanishing points, I'm not using horizon lines, but I'm rotating around it just to make sure that it looks proper. So yeah. Sometimes you instinctively just realize that those are things you need to kind of learn and practice, which is kind of neat. Sometimes I'll watch like tutorial videos or just tip videos, and they'll be like, hey, you should try this. And I was like, oh, yeah, I came to that conclusion myself. This is kind of cool, you know? But yeah, okay. So now I'm going to try to clean up. And so right now, I'm not going to actually start adding any details necessarily, but I want to start making sure everything is lined up proportionally. So just making sure that the position of the head, how it's moving down, feels consistent with the hips as well. So right now, I feel like the hips might be a bit too high on the second drawing, so I'm just going to lower it. I'm going to switch to my chunky pencil, and I'm just going to lower the hips a little bit. The other thing is I might try to clean up also the figure itself, as this is essentially the figure I am going to be basing off my final drawing on. So I need to make sure that it's clear for me, like I know what I drew and I can kind of translate what it is, and I know what I'm drawing, so I know what to attach my drawing to. So remember near the beginning how we had this big character? This is essentially like a very quick model sheet that I'm using. It's just like a guide to give myself a reminder as to what the character, what I want it to roughly look. But I just need to make sure that when I'm drawing that this kind of figure matches. So right now she's holding the sword, and I know it's really messy right now, but for me, as long as it's clear to me. So maybe you guys might be looking at this and be like, what in the world? What is this supposed to be? Or what is this supposed to look like? But as long as it's clear to me and I know what I'm drawing and what it's supposed to be and what it's supposed to lead up to, I think that's okay, because everybody has a different drawing style. So right now, you might approach the body differently from me, and you might be like, that doesn't make any sense. But as long as it works for you when you're animating, whatever you're animating, I think it's okay. And maybe clean up the foot here so it makes it look more like they're taking a step. I'm still trying to keep this loose because I want to do this quickly and not lose any sense of momentum. And just be able to pull it off and get an idea as to where the shoulders are. I know someone asked previously about the shoulders, so I might have made the sword too close. So I'm just gonna move it over just a little bit. Someone asked about the shoulders. Shoulders. I like to treat them as kind of like spheres, but don't draw them as spheres. If that makes any sense. But I don't like when I'm drawing the figure, like this is the body. I like to think of it as a sphere first. And then the arm is attached to it. The reason why I think of it as a sphere first is that it allows me to understand the thickness that an arm might have. And if you want to start off with a mannequin first, I think that's okay. It allows you to quickly map out what it is that you're drawing. I realize I haven't looked at the chat for a while, so I'm just gonna take a break. Not a break, but just quickly look at it. It's 3 times bigger than the torso. I mean, you know what? If it follows your character's design, I think that's actually okay. Let me see. Yeah. Some work on frame 0. Oh, yeah, it's just for like my sense of numbering. Some people do. I do like I know that some people like to work on frame 0 because that's default, but I don't know. I feel like I like working from frame 1 just because it makes more sense to me. Love a good chunky pencil. Exactly, yes. Oh, cool. Yeah, we got a video with Jesse explaining some overlap. Exaggeration and animation. It depends on style a little bit. But I would say exaggeration is always good because that's why we animate and not film real life. If you just film real life, then, you know, you can only exaggerate so much. But the medium of animation allows for you to really push stylization, smears, smudges, motion trail, all that kind of stuff. So I would say, like, you know, take advantage of the medium that allows you to really create anything that you want. Don't start from frame 0 for the same reason. Yeah. I mean, you know, I know some people don't mind it and they just go with frame 0, but it's just, I don't know, it's odd, right? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, it's just a matter of perspective. Once you get used to it, it doesn't really matter. Or that's what I tell myself. It doesn't really matter once you can, like, reason it out for yourself, then, you know. Some people like to draw the legs really long. It gives them a kind of nice, elegant look. So if you're going for stylized anatomy, then yeah, you know, I think having really long legs is okay. So I'm just cleaning up the mannequin. So this is going to be my base mannequin to reference from. And I just want to make sure that the rest of them all follow at least a general size for it. And I'm going to have my reference in front of me so that I can at least see it. Let me see. So I'm using this as a way to gauge and judge what the pose was originally. And again, because she's moving down, I want to make sure everything else is also moving down. She's kind of squatting her legs, which means I need to bend them. So yeah, this is what the cleanup is. It's not the most exciting things sometimes, but it's important. It's kind of like laying down the foundation and the groundwork of your drawing, or else you're gonna come into trouble once you start adding the details in and you realize that the drawing's inconsistent. So I'm just trying to lay it down as best as I can, at least as much as I can that will make sense for me when I'm doing this. And I realized that I changed the position of her arms from the reference, actually, so I'm gonna just redraw it. again. So in the reference, she has she kind of raising up her shoulders. So I'm gonna have her shoulder come up, and it's covering her face a little bit. And this is why we say do figure drawing, because now I can quickly just map out what her body is doing and how it's kind of turning and adjusting. There is a lot of motion blur, so it's actually kind of hard tracking exactly what's happening underneath, but I think this is what's going on. So I'll draw the sword here, and again, this is a motion trail. So just taking the step forward, and I think I need to move the drawing a little bit more because there's a little bit of a shifting. So yeah, now that feels a bit better. Cool. What is the purpose of frames in between the drawings? Oh, you mean the empty ones? So if I play it, if I had them all really like right next to each other, it's gonna, you know, zip right by. It's gonna be really, really quick. But if I space them out, it helps actually put it in a proper timing so I can actually see how it's playing out. You know? So that's why I spaced them out the way that I have. Some of them are spaced out a little bit more. You can see that frame 1 runs for 3 frames in between before it hits frame 5. And that's because I want this first position to be a bit of a holding position, so that it's not as fast in the transition. And then these ones only have 2 frames in between because I want this to be a fast, energetic sword swing. And because this is the major uppercut, again, I want it to hold a little bit so that there's a little bit of slowing down emotion. And then we immediately swing over, and again, very quick swing. So that's why there's less space. But that's why I do it. I know that if you're doing this traditionally, well, obviously you wouldn't have these gaps, but that's where you would start making notes to tell the animators under you, if you were the supervising animator, to just let them know, or give them the animation planning chart sheet. Just letting them know, like, this is what the sequence is, and this is how long this pose should be, how long you should hold it, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Then I learned how much work it is. It is a lot of work. Who's Squidward? Did someone mention Squidward? Yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I hope that explains a little bit. Just the keyframes and exaggerate, but it's already looking really cool. Oh, thank you, Joanna. Yeah. So choose. The animation is very messy. Yeah, there's some awesome videos of Glenn Keane, an animator that used to work at Disney. His blocking sketches would always be super, super messy, but they would always get he's always able to convey a sense of weight and momentum and personality in the drawings, that he's like, the blocking is some of the most important stuff because it's telling the story. That's when you're just going at it. It's, you know, it's your emotions, you're the most excited about it. You're not worrying about anything too technical, and you're just making sure everything is flowing properly and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so this one, let me see, moving down my reference. So this is what I'm working with right now. I'm on this one. Oh yeah, Faye, I don't know if you're still here, but I'm animating Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So I'm animating the sequence, a fight sequence on it. I don't know if you're still there, but that's what we're doing. But yeah, so I'm trying to recapture this phase, but in terms of exaggeration, what I'm trying to do is capture this like weight in the leg, just like a little bit more, and also the sword movement. Even though it's blurred, I want to capture that sense of her bringing and flipping that sword really quickly to capturing that momentum. So don't know what to draw. Someone give this person a suggestion. What do you like to draw? Monkeys? You can draw a monkey. Let me see. I see. So sword. think the sword is actually here. So the hilt is here. But I want to have a bit of motion trail, so and maybe I won't put that one here for now. Yeah, it is definitely like a bit tricky because the photos that I'm using can only show so much, so I have to actually extrapolate a little bit. So even though I'm just essentially copying this footage, there's a lot of unknowns. You know, there's a lot of things that I'm like, oh, where is the head? What is the arm doing over here? What is happening? What is going on? So I have to kind of infer and make decisions on my own as to like what is exactly happening. But I want to make sure that this motion with the leg in the back is there. And I want to make sure that they line up and that it's captured properly at the very least. And then here's the knee. It's going this way. And yeah, I think this should be good enough. So I wanted the foot to just be touching the ground. I don't want it to be exactly like there. So I'm just going to move this up again. So lines up with the momentum. Yeah. Draw a cat walking on a tightrope. Some monkey. Biologically enhanced creation of a lizard mixed with fungus. Oh my goodness. That does sound awesome though. So flipping back and forth just to make sure that everything feels right. Yeah, I feel like the arm motion is looking good. So now I just have to tweak her head, which I think sometimes drawing through will help a little bit. So I'm doing that. And in the photo, she's looking over. So just want to make sure that the shoulder is here. And this one is a tricky one with her other hand, because it's kind of blurred out from the motion, but it's also kind of in front, because I think she's holding the sword. She's like just let go of the sword a little bit, so I think I can kind of see her hand doing something. So go with something like this, maybe. I'm like really trying to focus, so if I miss your chat, I'm so sorry, but something like that, you know. Create the lore of Lizungus. Oh my goodness. That's cool though. Monkey Kid. And again, I think I might just scoot this over a little bit. And I think the height's good. I don't want the character to be moving too much up, or else it might give a sense of bobbing. But again, that's kind of why we do these test blocking first, to get an idea as to the general motion that is happening. And she's holding the sword. Her body is really kind of tucked in. She's really leaning that shoulder in, which is really cool. And again, I think her arm is coming in here. Kind of a deal. It's maybe like palming the sword. So her arm is tucked in. And again, there's this really nice twisting happening with the body, which is something that I want to kind of capture. So I'm going to go out of my way and put in an effort to really capture it. Hello. I don't know if anyone's joining new just now, but we're animating a sequence from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So I'm just doing essentially kind of like glorified figure drawings, essentially. And I'm now trying to capture this lower panel over here, but I'm changing it up a little bit because I love the twisting that's happening in the pose, and this forward step that she's taken. And I want to just make sure that I got it, you know. And what's going to be important, really important about this back leg is that I need it to trail onwards, kind of a thing. So in order to really exaggerate it, I want to give it a real sense of motion. And so that's why I'm making it a little bit thinner, to really kind of exaggerate and push that visual. Okay, so yeah, this is where we're at in terms of like cleaning, not really cleaning up, but just making sure it makes sense. Like, I want to make sure the step feels proper, and I think it does. Beforehand, I feel like it wasn't quite leading, but now I think it does. Maybe I'll still move it up forward just a smidge. Yeah. I think I am passing the ground plane. I am a little bit. Yeah, so it kind of has like a baseball. Hey, I know. Okay, so I actually wanted to do a baseball hitter, but nobody voted for baseball. But this is kind of a baseball pose, essentially. I've just drawn a baseball pose. And yeah, this is looking pretty good. I think my foot is off, not exactly level, so I'm just gonna put it there. And yeah, I think it's kind of essentially like a flip book. I want to see if the motion tracks, and I think it does. The main thing I'm looking for is the foot, because I want that sense of momentum. And I think the sword swing definitely helps carry that she's moving forward and the weight is dropping. And then the next one, let me see. Okay, so there's a bit of sliding. So again, I'm just gonna make sure that everything makes sense. Hello, Jennifer, welcome. And Sue, you voted for baseball? Yeah. And just start. Yeah, sometimes you're like, oh, I should fix this, and you fix it and end up making it worse. I've definitely been there. So, no worries. Okay. This is definitely a big step. This one I actually might maybe need a few more frames. Like if we were to start in-betweening, I might actually need a few more frames because that's a big leap in motion. It will require actually quite a bit of slow or ease out. It's going to be quite a big ease out before I can reach this kind of motion. And this one, you know, I am fine with the way that this one is. So this one definitely needs to change because it's more of like a leap forward. So I want to just make sure that there's a sense of them leaping forward. And again, this one's got to change. And unfortunately, it's going to go off the page. So they're just going out off the page. And it's fine. It's like a walking sequence, but with a sword. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just psychologically, but like I feel like it's lining up better. Like the step feels like it's working a lot more. And because I cleaned up the figure a little bit more, maybe I'm just, you know, copium, I'm just telling myself that it's better. What did I... Yeah. I'm hearing some of those 12 principles of animation, yeah. Anticipation, a lot of ease out, you know. What did I miss? Well, just well, while I'm playing this, just so that people can see how it looks like and where we're at, I am animating a sequence from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And I basically screenshotted all the main poses, and I'm just animating... Excuse me. I don't know if anybody heard that, but I'm just animating this sequence. And I've basically taken these poses from Michelle Yao from on the left-hand side, and I'm just animating her side of the fight, not animating two people, because ain't nobody got time for that. I mean, I ain't got time for that. I mean, yeah. But this is where we're at, so it's pretty neat. It's a big step. A big step forward and a big leap, hopefully. I actually think I can make this go a little bit more. Want to capture a good sense of weight in it. The camera, I did not factor in camera, unfortunately, but I mean I could make the drawing smaller, but that seems like it'd be a bit annoying to do, but yeah. So now I kind of just want to make sure that this leap makes sense. And I think it does. It'll just need the in-betweening, honestly. But I love this. I think I did a good job with this. I need a good encourage myself every now and then. I feel like this is looking not too bad. It's like an interesting motion that happened in the fight, and now she's off the page. So I'm just gonna save just in case Krita crashes. Oh, thank you. So how's everyone doing so far? We are like 30 minutes left, I think, of the stream, but I think it's good. What do I want to do now? I think it's time for the part that we all dread, which is actually making it look like a person. Making it look like an actual character. So I'm gonna still call this rough, but we'll call it rough cleanup. That's what we're doing. Have you ever tried animation with Clip Studio? I haven't, but I heard it's like probably somewhat similar. Like you have your timeline and different frames that you can draw on and adjust, and I think everything is on the same layer as well. But yeah, if we have any recording of that, yeah, you can check it out. I like Krita though. Like Krita is pretty straightforward and pretty simple. So yeah, so far I am enjoying it. Let's see. Turn on. Okay. Or maybe actually I shouldn't turn on. No onion skin. Don't want the onion skin. So I'm going to change to the pencil now. So bye-bye chunky pencil, because now I want to be a little bit more precise, and we're switching to the charcoal pencil. And we are now working on rough cleanup. So that was rough block in, and now it's rough cleanup. And what I want to do now is start to kind of imply more structure and a bit of a cleanup on the characters that I'm drawing. Flip a clip. I heard flip a clip is good, but I think I also heard that it's very limited, right? In its functions. There's only so much that you can do with flip a clip. But I don't know, you know? I know everybody kind of has a different preference for things, so, you know, if flip a clip works, you know, ain't no problem with using flip a clip. Okay, let me see. Michelle Yao's hair is coming down, so I'm just gonna quickly indicate like a face shape and where the hair might be. Yeah, I mean every program is gonna have its learning curve, so I like Krita, but some people might be like, oh no, I don't like it at all, and other people are like, no, it's better. I'm good because it's very good. Yeah, yeah, it definitely has limitations. It's treated more of like a flip book, like a very fancy flip book, um than a real like full-on animation kind of program is what I've heard. But this is what I heard through the grapevine. So I could be wrong. Now I'm just kind of looking at what the costuming looks like. And yeah, I want to keep everything simple, so I'm not trying to be too complicated with the folds and everything. Even though I still want to add them, I'm not trying to overstate it too much. My pants are a bit too low, so I'm gonna just move this one up. So I have space for the feet. Oh yeah, I gave her kind of baggy clothes. This is when like my talking just is not working because I'm trying to draw at the same time. Baggy. Don't know what to call it. Okay. Yeah. Have the cuffs fan out a little bit, and then draw the hands. Everybody's favorite thing to draw. Hands. Oh, hands. Oh boy. Okay. Just gonna simplify the sword beam. And oh, I realized I never drew her other arm actually. So I'm gonna draw her other hand somewhere around here. And I think her sword hilt should be here, and then the sword somewhere around here. Let's see. Let's check the size. Okay, I think that's a good size. Good size for the height of the sword. This one's a big one. This is a thick sword. The final sword. Wow, everybody has so many different programs to use. Yeah, for sure. Animation is not. It can be a bit tricky. Not for everyone. I feel like you need a certain kind of patience or drive or motivation to do animation because it's a very niche skill to build up. Yeah. So, okay, bye, Me Likes Muffin. I don't know if you're still here, but bye. What am I animating on? I am animating on Krita, yeah. Actually kind of like drawing hands. Oh, you do? We got a rare one. Someone who likes drawing hands. Okay, we got 2 people. I guess maybe hands are 50-50? Maybe? And shoes, yes. Shoes. You just draw them as triangles. Oh my god, okay, so okay, everybody likes drawing hands. Okay, so I guess I'm in the wrong here. Not everybody dislikes drawing hands, apparently. Okay. No, there's nothing wrong with hands. I think hands are great too. They can just be a little tricky. Okay, so we got the general form of the character. Now I'm gonna move on to this next one. Let's see, this pose. She is also still looking side view. Okay, and hair. And just kind of tweaking it so it looks okay as I'm drawing it. And I would also say, if anyone ever wants to really get into animation, just practice also just continually drawing faces. And because you'll need to draw a lot. Like a lot. If you're ever drawing characters, you will be drawing an endless amount of characters. So get used to drawing a lot of people. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing, maybe I've scared some people off from animation, but I mean look, I guess animation's not always people, but you know, a good chunk of them, a good chunk of it is drawing people, and I feel like it's kind of hard getting away from that. But yeah, I totally get it if it's not everyone's favorite thing to draw, but yeah. Okay, so and if you're wondering like why is the shirt looking like that, it's because that's not, oh no, what is it, she's got a little bit like a puff on the clothing, so there's like a little bit of a sag, so that's what I'm drawing, is like the sag over there. Yeah, okay, now I'm just going to draw the excuse me, my bad. I had a burger for lunch and pop, so now everything is coming back up. I'm just kidding. Okay, so maybe I won't draw the sword. And let's see. So the sword, maybe it should be coming like this, and we'll give it some motion lines just to make it feel like it's going somewhere. And I'm only keeping the other drawing on if I need a reference point as to like what is happening, but for the most part I think I'm just gonna keep it off, and I'm not gonna worry too much right now about the clothing, but it's definitely gonna be something that I will have to come back to when I'm drawing this, because motion, kind of like with the cat with the tail, it is something that I will need to keep an eye on. Oh right, her outfit has like a little bit of like that, I don't know what to call it, but the collar in Chinese kind of outfits, there's a bit of that collar. Okay. There's also visual effects in animation. Oh yeah, that's true, yeah. You know, there's so many different departments in animation in the industry, but I'm gonna draw the burp. Is that what I said? There's no way I said that. But, yeah. Okay, so after all of this, I am almost done 2 cleaned up drawings. Animation, it's just, you know, it's You can do so much with animation. 2 drawings. Okay, let me check what the other foot looked like. Okay. Okay, so I wanted this one to trail. So I'm keeping an eye on the ground plane. And let me see. I might actually just draw... I don't know why I didn't do this, but just have a ground plane laid down. I don't know why, but yeah, you know. And obviously, I need to extend this foot too. Same thing with the cat. It's just easier if you're drawing something like this, which is a where I don't have to worry too much about perspective. Having a line ground plane is definitely really gonna help in just making sure everything is grounded. So I'm just gonna add this and make sure that the foot kind of lines up, because this is a holding pose essentially for the feet, so I don't want it to move. So let's see how this looks. Let's see what we got. Okay. Hey, it's a little bit cleaned up. Got a little bit of motion going, not too bad. Maybe I might add a little bit of a, you know, going on. Okay. Yeah, okay. When you put it up there, they'll jump on it. What? How do you draw so fast? Oh, thank you. I mean, I don't know if this is considered fast, but I'll take it. Okay. Better at drawing than I am. Oh, thank you. You know what? It's practice. I mean, you know, there's definitely good practice, but practice definitely helps. That is for sure. Oh no. After you draw a lot, you can draw really fast. That's true, yeah. So, I mean, I do a lot of gesture drawings, and because I feel like I've been doing a lot, you just start to get a grasp of roughly how the human body just works, like functionally. And you just start picking up shortcuts and just roughly an idea of what you can maneuver and what you can adjust and all that kind of stuff. So it does take a lot of practice and just kind of seeing what works when it comes to the human body. And I'm drawing these kind of just lines for the clothing because I want the folds to help add to the momentum of the pose. So that's what I'm doing. And this, I feel like this one was probably the hardest pose to draw because I can't see it really well on the reference. So Michelle Yeoh's face is kind of turned a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of, honestly, it's really tricky. I'm just gonna have her shirt cover it. So you know how beforehand in the rough blocking we were able to get away with having slightly gestural implications of clothing and like where things were, like where the limbs were and everything? Yeah, we can't do that anymore. I actually have to know what is happening. So that's now the tricky part, is now I have to be certain. I have to be like, okay, what is actually happening here? What do I actually want? Kind of a thing. And this is where the exaggeration comes in a little bit. I want to just push this curve that's happening with the arm. So that's what I'm doing. You should see. Oh yeah, Jesse draws insanely fast. I'm definitely not there. But you know, I would say drawing fast doesn't necessarily. at a certain point, I would say. It's not a, like, whoa, that means that person's better if they're able to draw really fast. But drawing fast can help you get better. It's more of like a byproduct as you draw more and more, but I don't know. After saying that, maybe people will be like, well, then doesn't that mean, yeah, the more you draw, the faster you get, which means the better you are? And it's like, it's like yeah, it's a mix, it's a combination, because then you have to also start factoring like creativity and style and just personal preference. Some people just, you know, just because you draw really fast, but you know, maybe that's not your style in terms of preference, that can be a thing. So yeah, she is Sonic the Hedgehog of drawing, that's true. Yeah, just woke up, dang. I do quality over quantity. Yeah, I think there's definitely like a good balance. Just because you can draw fast doesn't mean your drawings are like the best out there, or that now you're done if you're able to draw really fast. But drawing fast can definitely be a good thing and can be helpful. It's a weird one, you know. It's something to kind of, everybody has a bit of a different take on it, I guess. Yeah. On pose, what is this? Pose 3. Oh, thank you, Joe Road, for the donation. Really appreciate it. That's awesome. I mean, right now it's still on the rough, messy stage. I just want to get a overall form of what is going on. So, you know, it's still not meant to be like super clean, but you know. Let me see. Okay, this hand. Oh, because there's so much going on. It's so fast. Right, the hilt. Hilt is over here, and the blade is kind of coming this way. So. Just gonna get some motion lines again, just because it's really quick, and I just want to see what it looks like. Okay. Yeah, that's looking not too bad. I think for sure, like, the main thing I'm trying to get at this point is just to make sure that I'm now clearly stating what is what. Like, okay, this drawing here, what is this supposed to be, and what should it look like, and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Okay. Let me see, how much time do we have? We got 9 minutes. Oh my goodness, I don't know if I can actually get it in 9 minutes. I will try. Feeling generous today? Well, thank you. We appreciate your generosity. Yeah, for sure. Drawing this, doing proper practice is definitely really key. I like to ask myself like things that I need to practice on and improve on. So, you know, after I draw, I kind of will look at my stuff and be like, oh, you know what can I improve on? What is it that needs changing? You know, is it my proportions? Can I make my line work more interesting? All that kind of stuff. So that's how I try to break away from just drawing the same thing over and over again, and hopefully that's what improves. And sometimes I'll change my medium, like my drawing medium. So sometimes I'll change it over to like pencil. Sometimes I'll change it over to watercolor or ink or that kind of stuff. So yeah, sometimes changing it can be like really helpful. know, while doing this, I'm kind of part of me is like, why did I pick this? Why did I overestimated myself? Okay, let me go. Okay, I think that's, yeah, I think that's good. Okay, cool. And there's the sleeve. Let me see. I have like a mirror in front of me, so I'm trying to track what would my hand be doing, and I can see that this is where the fingers would be, and the knuckles. And let me see. Okay, yeah. Again, it's really fast, this motion. It's really kind of... Maybe I'll change it up to here at this point. Yeah. Different... How much the 16 minutes left? Yeah, that sounds about right. That's true, yeah. You know, looking at your drawing, or trying to even just draw in general, it feels like it's like a puzzle, you know? Because a lot of times it's just trying to analyze, like, what did I just draw? And, like, if I wanted to draw this, how can I draw it? And I think that's, like, the cool thing about art, is that in a way it's kind of like a puzzle, yeah. Let me see what... Okay, maybe I'll have the back of her... I actually don't know what this is. The back of her... It's... I don't know, this waist covering? Have it start trailing. So... Because the momentum is starting to pick up on the leg. I want it to have a little bit... So I'm not worrying too much about like the folds and wrinkles on the pants, as that's more of just like style. Obviously, I think when I do clean it up, it would make sense to have those actually stay consistent, or else they'll be jittering all over the place. But yeah, just having a general momentum is fine. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's not too bad. I think the R hand is still weird. Honestly, I'm looking at the reference, and I'm just like, what is this? What is this? What is the other hand doing? I can't tell what is going on. The blur. It doesn't help that there's blurring too. So, yeah, it's all good. It is a challenge. I am challenging myself, which is always good. Yeah, you know, you gotta go through the hard work kind of thing. Yeah, like a tunic. Yeah, you know what, it's kind of like a tunic. It's a bit of motion blur and whatnot. So yeah, okay, now for the big jump pose. Ooh. And let's see, this one, nice big shoulder prop. And honestly, I feel like part of me would just change the style of the drawing a little bit. I don't know if anyone's seen like Mulan. They have some really cool interpretations of Chinese outfits, I guess you could say. Like the animated one, not the live action one, obviously. But yeah. Oh, you know what? It's actually has to be a bit different. She go fly, yeah. Oh, Cheeto dust. Hello. We're almost done though, but nice of you to like join us in the last bits, just like Cheeto dust joining us in the last moments. Okay, let's see. And this one is gonna be a bit of a perspective, so I'm gonna have to adjust for it. Okay. Yeah, I'm in like full focus mode now. Let's see. Maybe something like that. Honestly, I don't know actually like what these things are supposed to look like the tunics. I think it should be draping over her leg, probably. So, something like that. This is why reference is good, because I think, because I don't know exactly how these clothings look like instinctively. Having reference is nice, because then I can just be like, oh, that's what it looks like, and just rely on that, and not have to worry about whether I can imagine it looking proper. But, yeah. Again, we're back to the foot, kind of just teetering on the back of its foot, and this one's taking a step forward. Yeah, I think the foot was like the toe in the image, it was like bent, so that's why I'm kind of tipping it a little bit. It's a neat, interesting detail. Again, this is why I like using reference, because those little details, sometimes you just don't think about them. So. Hey, okay, cool. Let's see how it plays. Hey, that's pretty cool. You know what? This is what I love about animation is like while you're doing it, you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know if it's working. Is it gonna play out? Is it gonna look good? And then you play it, and it's like, I don't know. It's like magic. Animation, a little bit of it's like a magic trick. You play it, and it's like, wow, okay, I guess it is working. And then I mean, it could go the other way too, where you play it, you're like, oh, it is not working. So. Yeah. Art is magic. Exactly. Whether it's animation or whatever, art in itself is magic. So I think we'll call it here, because we are at the 2-hour mark and I have 3 more poses. But this is just a part 1, so just letting everybody know we are going to continue this after in the next stream where it's me again. So it's the next animation stream that I'm doing. We will follow up on this. I don't know why I said it in the most convoluted way ever, but yeah, that's kind of the goal. And I'll probably finish the last 3 poses soon, so then I could post it on chat. And then also I don't have to worry about it afterwards. And I might do the cleanup on my own, because that's kind of essentially just busy work. And when we come back on the stream next time for part 2, you'll see a cleaner, hopefully smoother part of this sequence. So, yeah, it was great. Hope everybody enjoyed the stream. It was fun, trying to keep an eye on chat, but, hopefully I was able to answer some people's things every now and then. And if I wasn't able to answer your questions, maybe you can tune in near the beginning of the chat where we just chill and chat, and then you can ask me all your questions and pester me as much as you want before we start animating, because I feel like when I'm animating, I'm just like zoned in, just tunnel vision and just trying to get a drawing going. But yeah, cool. I'll stay on for a little bit longer, but it was great having you. Oh, I guess we gotta go do our closing statements. I'll have this running, but if you like the stream and you enjoy the stuff that we're making here, our content, our tutorials, and our stream, definitely drop a like and feel free to subscribe so you know when our next part is starting. Feel free to check us out on Patreon, as that helps support us as we make free arts education, as well as streams like this, which I don't know, would you count this as tutorials? But it kind of falls under that, I guess. But not only supporting us on Patreon is not only is it helpful, but you also get perks alongside with it too. So sometimes you'll get some updates on our video edits, some behind the scenes, some class recordings, as well as Discord emotes. And also feel free to check us out on our social media, as I'll be posting this on Discord, the different poses and the key poses. So definitely keep an eye out on Discord for that. And I think that's about it. But yeah, thanks for everyone for joining and staying on. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm waving my hand, and I always forget that there's no camera, but I'm waving my hand. Just say goodbye. But yeah, cool, awesome. Bye guys, bye everyone, take care. Hope you all enjoy your weekend. Yeah.